We are live on YouTube. We can begin.
Yes, sir, we are starting. You can. Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bharat Dialogue, an Independence Day celebration held annually by BITS Embryo. Bharat Dialogue by BITS Embryo invites distinguished speakers who have significantly contributed to the nation and brought pride to India. Today, we are pleased to have Dr. V Narayanan, the Director of Indian Space Research Organization's Liquid Propulsion System Centre, with us. Having completed his PhD in aerospace engineering, he has played a significant role in creating several liquid propulsion stages utilized in ISRO's launch vehicles and spacecraft. Under his direction, LPSC has made great strides in the design, development, and implementation of liquid propulsion systems, assisting in accomplishing many space missions such as the esteemed Chandrayaan, Mangalyaan, and Aditya L1. Good evening, sir. We're excited to have you here to share your insights and experiences with us today.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Aditya, is it audible to all of you?
Yes, sir, you are audible. You're totally audible.
Yeah. So, very, very good evening to all of you. My dear young friends, I am extremely happy to be with you on this evening. I understand as part of the Independence Day celebration, you have an annual event like this called Bharat Dialogue. And it is a great privilege and honor to be with youngsters like you on this occasion. And we are going to celebrate the 78th Independence Day and on August 15th, which is, day after tomorrow is the Independence Day. And August 15th is also very, very important day for ISRO. I don't know how many of you are totally aware that Indian space program was started in the year 1962. Indian space program was started by the father of Indian space program, Dr. Vikram A. Sarabhai, with a vision of serving the common man of this country with advanced space technology. And it was on 15th August 1969, ISRO was formed. So we are also, whenever we talk about the Independence Day, we have multiple celebration. One is, of course, Independence Day itself is a great celebration. And 15th August 1969, ISRO was formed. And another important in August is you all may be knowing, 23rd August last year, we had the historical landing of Chandrayaan 3 near the south pole of moon. And India became the first country to have the successful soft landing near the south pole of moon. And through that mission, really, it made all Indians so proud. Even though we are the fourth country to soft land, and we are the first country to soft land near the south pole of the moon. And you all know, the now Honorable Prime Minister has announced 23rd August as National Space Day. In fact, we are in the process of celebrating the National Space Day also. And over the years, the Indian space program has brought a lot of benefit to the common man of this country. So I have planned to give you the talk on 6 decades of Indian space program. Basically, I would like to address how we have started the space activities and what are all our accomplishments till today. And today, what are all the major activities taking place across the country on space-related activities, and what is the future plan. This is what I am going to address to you. Now, hearing a talk, I was told 1.5 hours to 2 hours, but then it will be very difficult if anybody talks to you more than 45 minutes to 50 minutes, because we cannot concentrate beyond that. So what I am going to do is, first I am going to play a video which will give you a glimpse of our Chandrayaan 3 related activities, and also related to the theme related to the National Space Day celebration. It is a 10 minutes video. Probably you all will enjoy that. Then I will share the link and slides, and we will go through. I will go through the talk just to take you through the entire journey of Indian space program, how it was started, and what are all the major achievements, and today what are we doing, and future what is in the store, so that youngsters like you will really have a overall understanding of what it is. And really we will be very happy that if you join, couple of you people join in the space related activities, it will be really good. But doesn't matter whether you join in the space related activities or not. You all should really contribute for developing this country as a developed nation before we celebrate the 100 years of independence. And that is the basic aim of me in addressing you. And then at the end of my talk, maybe a 8 minutes video on the overall space related activities, because 62 years activities summarizing in maybe 1 hour, you can understand it is a very, very difficult game, but then I will try to see what best can be done. So with that, first of all, my greetings to all youngsters who are hearing this, participating in this talk. So if you all agree, first we'll go through the theme video of the National Space Day celebration. So we'll share the video now. Hope you are seeing the video.
Yes, sir, we are able.
Okay, fine.
The moon, a well-known visible object in the night sky, has captivated the minds of both scientists and common people. The charming allure of the moon has enchanted people throughout history. Scientists believed the moon would reveal the mysteries of the solar system and our own planet Earth. This mysterious puzzle has fueled numerous expeditions to our celestial neighbor. India achieved a significant milestone in space exploration when Chandrayaan-1 was successfully launched on October 22, 2008. The spacecraft carried a total of 11 scientific instruments. It orbited around the Moon at a height of 100 kilometers from the lunar surface for chemical, mineralogical and photogeologic mapping of the Moon. With the suggestion of former President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, ISRO achieved a remarkable feat by creating the Moon Impact Probe, which became the first Indian object to touch the lunar surface. This accomplishment is a testament to India's innovative approach and dedication to space exploration. The presence of water, H2O, and hydroxyl, OH, on the lunar surface was a groundbreaking discovery of the Chandrayaan-1 mission and opened up new possibilities for lunar exploration. The follow-on mission, Chandrayaan-2, was successfully launched on July 22, 2019 by the ISRO's heavyweight LVM-3 M1 launch vehicle. The Chandrayaan-2 satellite was made up of orbiter, lander Vikram and rover Pragyan. The orbiter is still healthy and continuing its observations about the lunar surface. The suite of orbiter payloads with unique capabilities is offering valuable insights into the lunar surface, providing a plethora of information to the scientific community and conducting a comprehensive analysis of the Moon's topology. The Chandrayaan-2 mission paved the way for Chandrayaan-3's soft landing on the lunar surface. On July 14, 2023, ISRO's heavyweight launch vehicle LVM-3M4 successfully launched the highly anticipated lunar mission Chandrayaan-3. The Chandrayaan-3 integrated module is configured with a propulsion module and a lander module with the rover housed within the lander. The lander module of the Chandrayaan-3 has been enhanced to ensure greater durability and resilience, surpassing the capabilities of the Chandrayaan-2 module. It has been reinforced to independently adapt to a wider range of variables, enabling a safe and soft landing. Detailed tests have been carried out for the performance evaluation of the lander systems on Earth to ensure the capability of lander for autonomous, safe and soft landing in all possible conditions. The propulsion module comprised a payload called spectropolarimetry of habitable planet Earth, SHAPE. This payload was designed to discover how smaller planets in reflected light would allow us to probe into a variety of exoplanets which would qualify for habitability. The lander module was equipped with 4 payloads, namely radio anatomy of moon-bound hypersensitive ionosphere and atmosphere. RAMBA was used to measure the near-surface plasma density and its changes with time. Chandra's Surface Thermophysical Experiment, CHAST, carried out the measurement of thermal properties of lunar surface near polar region. Instrument for Lunar Seismic Activity, ILSA, measured the seismicity around the landing site and delineating the structure of the lunar crust and mantle. Laser Retroreflector Array, LRA, was a passive experiment to understand the dynamics of the Moon system. The rover module was equipped with 2 payloads. Laser-Induced Breakdown Spectroscope, or LIBS, did qualitative and quantitative elemental analysis and derived the chemical composition and infer mineralogical composition to further our understanding of the lunar surface. Alpha Particle X-ray Spectrometer, APXS, determined the elemental composition of the lunar soil and rocks around the lunar landing site. The LVM-3 rocket successfully deployed the Chandrayaan-3 satellite into an elliptical parking orbit at a distance of 170 by 36,500 kilometers. Following the sequence of Earth burns or EBN, the spacecraft was precisely inserted into trans-lunar orbit. On August 5th, 2023, Chandrayaan-3 successfully entered the lunar orbit at an intended distance of 164 kilometers by 18,074 kilometers. Then the spacecraft achieved a lunar orbit of 153 kilometers by 163 kilometers through a series of lunar burns. On August 17, 2023, the lander module was successfully detached from the propulsion module. After a series of maneuvers, the lander module was successfully brought into a 25-kilometer by 134-kilometer lunar orbit. Consequently, the lander module initiated the power descent phase to achieve a soft landing near the south pole of the lunar region. Then, the much-anticipated spacecraft landing on the lunar surface had begun. On August 23, 2023, the long-awaited Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft achieved a successful soft landing on the moon. The entire country witnessed the event and cherished the triumphant occasion. The entire nation was filled with pride as they witnessed the relentless efforts of the Indian Space Research Organisation. The Honourable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, witnessed the triumphant event through virtual mode and applauded the valiant efforts of the ISRO scientists.
चंदा मामा बहुत दूर के हैं, चंदा मामा बहुत दूर के हैं। अब एक दिन वो भी आएगा जब बच्चे कहा करेंगे चंदा मामा बस एक टूर के हैं।
On August 24, 2023, rover ramped down from the lander and India embarked on a historic moonwalk. After coming back from South Africa and Greece, the Honourable Prime Minister promptly headed to the ISRO Telemetry Tracking and Command Network, ISTRAC, in Bengaluru on August 26th. During his visit, he expressed his admiration and delivered a historic speech about the achievements of ISRO scientists and the lunar mission Chandrayaan-3. He also saluted the pivotal contribution made by the women scientists of ISRO, the Nari Shakti, in the successful accomplishment of India's lunar landing mission. By achieving this historic feat, he has given it the names
चंद्रयान 2 के पद चिन्ह जहां है, वो स्थान आज से तिरंगा पॉइंट कहलाएगा। और जहां पर चंद्रयान 3 का मून लैंडर पहुंचा है, वो स्थान आज से शिव शक्ति पॉइंट कहलाएगा।
To commemorate the grand success of Chandrayaan-3, the Government of India announced
23 अगस्त को जब भारत ने चंद्रमा पर तिरंगा फहराया, उस दिन को अब हिंदुस्तान नेशनल स्पेस डे के रूप में मनाया जाएगा।
To honor India's amazing space exploration journey, MyGov, in collaboration with ISRO, conducted the Chandrayaan-3 Maha Quiz, in which millions of students participated. The remarkable achievement of Chandrayaan-3 highlighted India's impressive technological advancements, scientific expertise, and unwavering dedication to the exploration of outer space. India's success will further strengthen its position in the global space community. The success of this mission will ignite a sense of pride and inspiration in future generations.
Okay, now we will share the PPT with you. Hope you enjoyed the Chandrayaan 3 related landing and related activities. It was a very, very short video.
Yes, sir, we
Please.
definitely enjoyed.
Yeah, please share the PPT. Say the talk, I have, as I told, the topic of the talk will be on 6 decades of Indian space program is the topic what I have chosen to talk to you people. Hope you see the PPT, what is projected.
Yes, sir.
Say the vision of Dr. Sarabhai is we should be second to none in the application of advanced technologies to the real problem of man and society. And basically, the Indian space program, space activities is started to bring the benefit of advanced technology, the space technology to the common man of this country and the society as a whole. And basically, for doing this, we have to develop our own satellites of different types and different varieties. And to place the satellite, we need to have launch vehicles. And to utilize the data as well as for placing the satellite in the required orbit, we need to have the ground equipments. So in fact, all the activities were started almost simultaneously. And we have gone ahead with the one second, please hold. Please adjust. As I told, the Indian space program, that activities related to that was started in February 1962 by the formation of Indian National Committee for Space Research, and which was created, INCOSPAS was created, and the activity was started in a place near Thiruvananthapuram called Tumpa. It was a small fishing village, and the activity was started. I think you are seeing the photograph of that village at that point of time. And now we have got a couple of major milestones. It was on 21st November 1963, the first tiny rocket launch took place from Indian soil. And it was a rocket from USA. And the payload, it was a sodium vapor lamp, came from France. And we assembled India, and a couple of equipments also came from other countries. And everything was assembled and launched on 21st November 1963. And it was on 20th November 1967, we had the first indigenous rocket which took off, which was weighing almost 7 kg weight, and it took off and went to altitude of almost 9.3 kilometer. And then, as I told earlier, it was 15th August 1969, which was a major and important date for us. The ISRO was formed, and in June 1972, Department of Space was formed, which was that time under Department of Atomic Energy. Up to that time, it was under Department of Atomic Energy. And September 1972, ISRO was brought under the Department of Space. And the next major milestone is one of the major milestone is the first successful launch of the SLV-3, which happened on 18th July 1980. The our-own launch vehicle SLV-3, which is the first launch vehicle, successfully placed a tiny small 35 kg satellite in the low Earth orbit. And the project director was none other than APJ Abdul Kalam ji, who was the people's president. Then coming to the next launch vehicle, which is called the Augmented Satellite Launch Vehicle. The capability is almost 3 times of SLV-3. And using these 2 rockets, in fact, the entire launch vehicle technology was mastered. These 2 we consider as experimental launch vehicles, and the entire team, in fact, we also faced a couple of setbacks during the initial phase of launching, and we landed the entire launch vehicle technology, including guidance control and propulsion structures and telemetry tracking and all the associated technology, aerodynamics and mission management. Entire technology was landed. From that, we have come a long way. Today, to our credit, India has developed 6 generations of launch vehicle, and the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, the capability is something around 1,200 kg to GTO. Then the GSLV Mark II vehicle, the capability is almost 2 times of the PSLV vehicle, 2,250 kg to geo transfer orbit, which is 200 kilometer by 36,500 kilometer. It's a elliptical orbit. And then coming to the LVM-3 vehicle, which is the Bahubali rocket of India, the capability is almost 4,000 to 4,200 kg to GTO. And this rocket was launched almost, the first development flight was launched almost after 37 years of the first SLV-3 successful launch. And in 37 years, the mass of this rocket went up. And the SLV-3 was 17-ton liftoff mass. This is almost 37.4 times liftoff mass of SLV-3. Something around 642 ton is the liftoff mass. And then recently, we have also developed a small satellite launch vehicle capable of placing 500 kg to low Earth orbit. In fact, the third of that rocket, we are going to have the launch on 16th of this month, just 1 day after the Independence Day celebration. Coming to the satellite area, spacecraft systems, it was in the year 1975. We launched it successfully, the Aryabhatta satellite. That was the first satellite realized in the country with the support of Russia, and it was also launched by Russian launch vehicle. From that humble beginning, we have come a long way. We have built so many types of satellite. Bhaskara 1, Bhaskara 2, these are all remote sensing related satellites. And the Apple, that's the first communication experimental satellite. And we have built number of satellites. And the heaviest satellite ever built in the country is the GSAT-11, which is a high throughput communication satellite. Something around 5,850 kg is the mass of that spacecraft. And when it comes, yes, we have built satellites, we have built a launch vehicle. The entire ISRO program is people-centric program to ensure safety, security, and improving the quality of the common man of this country. In fact, lot of applications, I think you can read here, a lot of applications. Today, the space activity, space program is serving the common man of the country in a very big way. To talk about the application, it takes, in fact, there are 45 applications. It will take a lot of time for me to explain, but I am not going to dwell on that. Maybe a couple of minutes, I will just explain. One is, you all know telecommunication is one of the major application, the television broadcasting, telemedicine and tele-education, search and rescue operations, and meteorological related aspects, cyclone warning and services. And for example, if you take telecommunication as one of the applications, just let me give you an example. Say 30 years, 35 years back from Hyderabad, if you have to make a phone call to Kanyakumari or Delhi, you know what was involved. One has to go to a place and book the trunk, and it takes almost 1 to 1.5 hours to get the connection. Then only you can make a call. But today, you all will agree with me, every student is having your own mobile connectivity, and even any country in the world, we can get to the connection within a couple of seconds. And same way, television broadcasting. 30, 35 years back, how many channels were there? In fact, very, very limited number of broadcasting channels were there. But today, how many channels it has come. And telemedicine, in fact, we don't have a lot of super specialty hospitals. If a common man from the isolated place, he has to get connected to the super specialty hospital, it is possible. And tele-education. So like that, a lot of applications, and of course, a lot of applications are there. Now coming to the remote sensing spacecrafts, the Bhaskara was the first satellite which was built, and till today, so many satellites, something around 62 satellites are built from that, and currently something around 22 numbers are in operation, and it gives a lot of application, including disaster warning and management, and land and water resource management, cartography, and lot of applications. And remote sensing, if you take the application, for example, one area is groundwater mapping. You know, the conventional system, groundwater mapping, the success rate used to be only around 55 to 60%. Now through the space, the satellite-based data, it gives a success rate of something around 92%. And Earth observation satellites are used for multiple purposes: ocean monitoring, weather forecasting, climate studies, and varieties of application it is used. And coming to one of the important application, potential fishery zone is another application. India is having something around 7,500 kilometers of seashore, and a lot of our friends are involved in the fishing activity. And we, through the satellite data, we inform on real time to almost 6.75 lakh registered users are there. We inform. And through that service, if you see, almost the success rate of fishing is 80%, and the reduced search time to a level of 30% to 70%, and which is causing lot of saving. In terms of economical aspect, if I put a number, actually per year through this service alone, almost 30,000 plus crore is the profit through this service. And our ISRO budget is only 13,000 crore. Then you can understand what type of benefit is coming. Then we also monitor the crops, and crops yield forecasting is another application, which is through that we monitor the yield of different crops, and which is the data is used for multiple planning purpose. Then NavIC is another important system what we are having. In fact, our NavIC system is giving a accuracy of less than 10 meters is the type of accuracy what we are having. And through the NavIC, in fact, lot of applications. One application is vehicle tracking. Another one is, train tracking. In fact, India is having more than 8,000 trains currently. If I am correct, around 2,800 trains are real-time monitored. And from the room itself, you can understand the location of the train, and when it is going to come to the station, everything we can understand. And the lot of application for fishermen. And when people go into the sea, in fact, through an app, we also inform them their current location. And in fact, it is communicated in local language. It is implemented in a experimental basis, and in the coming years, it is going to be really going to be implemented in all the places. And now, if you see this particular slide, when Indian space program started, we used to transport our rocket parts in bicycles. And Apple satellite, it was taken in Bangalore in the bullock cart. And the bottom portion you can see in the middle, I have given that first rocket, the 7 kg rocket was launched, as I told, in the year 1967. That time, the other part of the world, in fact, USSR, in 1961 itself, Yuri Gagarin was sent to space and brought back safely. And 1969, the man has landed on the moon and came back. That is the time we are starting the program. Truly, we were 60 years behind. And from that bullock cart and bicycle era, we have come a long way today, to our credit. From Indian soil, we have launched something around close to 4,000 sounding rockets, of our own sounding rockets and other countries' sounding rockets, and something around 125 satellites from Aryabhatta to GSAT 11, and recently we have also placed the ExpoSat, and so many satellites of 125 satellites of different varieties we have built and we have launched. And there are some 10 experimental missions we have accomplished, and 436 satellites of 34 countries is launched by using our satellite launch vehicles from India, and 17 student satellites, and a lot of technologies, including space capsule experiment, reusable technology, launch vehicle technology, scramjet. So many technologies are demonstrated. And in the area of application, if really I have to talk, it will take a lot of time. To understand the application, we used to say, simply switch off the satellites one day evening, maybe 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. One will understand the real application. In fact, none of the ATM will work, and the television broadcasting will get into trouble, and telecommunication will get into trouble. Weather prediction, there will be issues. And we are using a couple of satellites for strategic applications, monitoring the border and monitoring the ocean, and lot of applications will get into a problem. So really today the space is doing great service to the common man of India. One way or other, all the citizens are benefited. Now coming to the launch vehicle, we are having 4 operational launch vehicles. The Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle is the workhorse, and which has placed totally 60 missions we have accomplished. Out of that 60, till today, out of 60, 58 launches were successful, and PSLV has placed something around 64 tons of payload. It has lifted off and placed in the orbit. And in fact, couple of major accomplishments are done by this vehicle. Now, in a single mission, the Russia has launched earlier 37 satellites successfully in using a single rocket. And we, the Indians, have launched 104 satellites in a single mission, and India became the first country to successfully place more than 100 satellites using a single rocket. And then, of course, this PSLV has accomplished used for placing the navigational satellites, IRS satellites, student satellites, and the Chandrayaan mission. Those things I will come back. And now, as I told, this is a major accomplishment what was made by PSLV. And PSLV today, it is a 4-stage vehicle. And initially, when we developed, the capability of the vehicle was something around 850 kg to polar sun synchronous orbit. From that, gradually we have improved the payload capability to almost 2 times, 1,700 kg. Now, a couple of important things what we have done with PSLV is having the 4th stage, which is a liquid stage. And that stage, after the entire the placing the required satellite in the orbit, this stage is used as a experimental platform. In fact, the students, if you really develop any payload or any small scientific satellites, it can be easily, it can be launched on free of cost, and the ISRO is really supporting the people, and you can carry out the experiments. And this is one of the things. Another thing is, when we celebrated 75 years of experiment, we hoisted our national flag in the orbit. And now coming to the next vehicle called GSLV, the capability is almost 2 times of PSLV. But then here, the lot of new systems has to develop, including a the cryogenic upper stage. Now, cryogenic stage, there are different types of propulsion systems are used in the launch vehicle. Solid, air-storable, liquid, and cryogenic. And cryogenic is the propulsion system where we use extremely low temperature propellant. Liquid hydrogen at minus 253 degrees centigrade and liquid oxygen at minus 183 degrees centigrade is used as the fuel and oxidizer combination. This gives the maximum performance of the propulsion system. But then such a handling, producing such a low temperature, handling the low temperature and designing the entire system, and ensuring proper ignition, ensuring proper function of the stage. It is a very, very complex development. In fact, when we started the development, we were looking for the technology from other countries, but then we could not get great support from other countries. Then we started our own program. In the year 1995, a project was approved, and we took almost 20 years. It was a very, very hard work and smart work done by Indians, and finally we successfully developed the cryogenic stage for the Mark II vehicle. And then coming to the Mark III vehicle, it is a game changer. This vehicle is a game changer. And this is a vehicle having 640 tons as the lift-off mass, capable of placing 8,500 kg to low Earth orbit. Till today, we have accomplished, including a passive cryo stage, including a mission with passive cryo stage, we have accomplished 7 missions. All are successful. Here we have to develop 2 solid motors and a core liquid stage with a 160-ton thrust twin Vigas engine and a cryogenic upper stage. Again, these developments have taken lot of effort and lot of time. And the cryogenic stage, again, this is compared to the Mark II vehicle, this cryogenic stage is having the thrust wise, it is 3 times of that thrust. And the propellant loading wise almost again 3 times. And we have started from the scratch and we have totally completed the development and successfully accomplished in the first attempt itself. 2017, we launched the GSLV LVM-3D1 rocket using the indigenously developed cryo stage, and India becoming one among 6. Today, we are one among 6 countries having this very high performance complex technology, which was denied to India in the early 90s. In fact, another thing is using this vehicle, couple of important missions are accomplished. One is using this vehicle, we have accomplished 2 commercial missions. Thereby, 72 OneWeb satellites were placed using 2 vehicles in the required orbit. That was one of the important achievements. Then coming to the other areas, one experiment what we have done is a space capsule recovery experiment using the PSLV. The SRE was placed in the orbit on January 10, 2077, and almost after 12 days of orbiting, this object was brought autonomously and landed in the exact place, and thereby we have demonstrated a reentry, total reentry experiment. Thereby we have mastered a lot of technologies in that aspect. Then the Chandrayaan 1. In fact, whenever we go and address to students, they used to ask a fantastic question: when India will become #1 in the space activities? But then you all should understand, as I explained earlier, when we started the program, we were 60 years behind, but couple of places we have become #1. For example, the Chandrayaan 1, this was the first interplanetary mission. Using Chandrayaan 1, India is the first country which found water molecules on the moon. Also, we have put our tricolor, our national flag on the moon surface through a moon impact probe. Then next, another important mission is a Mars orbiter mission. There was a satellite which was sent to Mars orbiter called Mars orbiter mission MOM, and this has to travel almost 666 million kilometer. I think you can understand if the error is 0.1 degree, it cannot reach the orbit, it will go somewhere else. And to our credit, India is the first country which has successfully accomplished a Mars orbiter mission in its first attempt. And even none of the developed country could accomplish get the success in the first attempt. So that was one of the major achievements. And not only that, it was a very low cost mission because we used the developed systems. And in fact, our Honorable Prime Minister used to say the cost spent per kilometer travel is less than auto fare. So that is the low cost mission. Another one mission, we have placed a AstroSat. This is India's first dedicated space astronomy observatory. It was placed in the orbit. Then Chandrayaan 2. In the Chandrayaan 2, we have demonstrated the capability, first time we have demonstrated the capability of Mark III vehicle, and we have also taken Chandrayaan to there was an orbiter. Even today, it is successfully revolving around the moon surface. And originally we designed the orbiter for 1 year lifetime, but it can work for 7 years because of the very innovative maneuvers, whatever we followed. And in that orbiter, there is a on-orbit high-resolution camera with 30 centimeter resolution, which is best of its kind as on date on the moon surface. And it is sending lot of, in fact, this orbit is having 8 state-of-art instruments and still working well. And we are getting enormous wealth of data about moon surface. And in fact, there we attempted to soft land, but unfortunately, it was a hard landing. And subsequently, we have studied the reason for the entire performance of the Chandrayaan 2, including the reason for hard landing. A national committee was constituted with 10 members, and the committee was given a mandate to study the performance of the entire Chandrayaan 2 and submit the recommendation for the improvement for Chandrayaan 3. In fact, the committee completed the assignment within a month and given a lot of recommendation for improvements. And improvements, I think you yourself can read in the area of navigation guidance control, thrust control, software related, similar, and then increasing the propellant margin, increasing the lander luck margin, and so many things, and doing lot of tests, simulation, software improvement, and so many recommendations were done. In fact, I am very happy that I was so blessed to be the National Committee chairperson, and our committee did a fantastic job. And today, the entire recommendation has gone into the Chandrayaan 3, including lot of tests. And Chandrayaan 3, you all know, finally, we are successfully soft landed. And you can see the first step in the Chandrayaan 3 mission is the satellite, which is a 3,900 kg satellite, which has to be lifted off from the Earth, and it was placed by our LVM-3 vehicle perfectly in the elliptical orbit. Our definition of the orbit was 170, targeted was 170 kilometer by 36,500 kilometer, and precisely it was injected 170. Instead of 170, we got 169.7 kilometer, and 36,500 kilometer, it was only 10 kilometer difference. So it is one of the best performance of any launch vehicle in the world. Then from that elliptical orbit, and we have used a propulsion system, and which was then operating almost 13 times for a duration of 10,700 seconds. And it was taken to moon surface, and it was captured in the moon surface, and the orbit size was reduced. And then the orbit, the propulsion module got separated. Then the next job is on last year 23rd. As you all know, most of you would have seen the news or TV or landing videos. You would have seen the satellite was rotating with a velocity of 6,077 kilometers per hour, and in 19 minutes it was brought to near rest. And we made history by making 3 parameters simultaneously zero. The horizontal velocity, vertical velocity, and altitude was made to zero, and India made history by successfully soft landing near the south pole of moon for the first time. And then we also did a hopping experiment, the Chandrayaan, the lander, which was there. It was, in fact, after landing, the rover, there was a rover that was brought out, checked the health, and then it was brought out. It was moving around autonomously, almost 100, moving around, and it has brought a lot of data. Then we also did an experiment called hopping experiment, because future, after landing, if you have to come back, we have to really again lift off. So we lifted the lander and placed back again safely, which was another important experiment which was done. Again, the propulsion module which took it to moon surface, that was brought back to the Earth orbit. These 2 additional experiments were done. And then through the Chandrayaan 3, there were important payloads, and we have discovered a lot of things. Number 1, we have measured the near surface plasma density, 5 to 30 million electrons per meter cube. That is one of the discovery. Then we had a probe to measure the temperature history on the moon surface. In fact, the temperature on the surface is 60 degrees, and the probe was pierced inside the surface, and at a depth of 80 mm, the temperature was -10. So this entire thermal gradient we have understood. And then lunar seismic activity was studied using an instrument which was having 10 vibration sensor, 10 sensors. And then we have also discovered a lot of minerals. The details are given here: iron, titanium, aluminum, manganese, silver, calcium, sulfur, chromium. So this type of minerals also we have discovered. And the whatever discovered, the entire data is donated to the scientific community of the world. In fact, this mission, one of the important achievement is we have integrated 140 crore of Indians across the globe. That is one of the major achievement. Next mission is the Aditya L1. India has built a 1,520 kg satellite for studying the sun, and we are having 7 important payloads. And this was again launched by our PSLV rocket, and from the elliptical orbit of 19,520 kilometers. This was taken by the propulsion system of the satellite. It has to go almost 1.5 million kilometers, and it was commissioned on January 6th of this month in the L1 orbit. And thereby, India has become the 4th country which has got the capability, which has got a satellite in the orbit for studying the sun. This is very, very important, another important mission. Now coming to the another important activity, what is being done is the Gaganyaan program. Honorable Prime Minister in the year 2018 announced that using the Indian launch vehicle, the Indians will be sent to moon. Indians will be sent to space and they will be brought back safely. So that is the mission. Right now we are working. In fact, for that, this vehicle has to be human rated, and we have to develop an orbital module in which the human has to travel, and we have to develop environmental control and safety system, because when the human being is there in the space, in the orbital module, we have to maintain the temperature, we have to maintain the oxygen content, we have to control the CO2 level, we have to maintain the required relative humidity, and the entire pressure levels, everything has to be maintained. So we are developing those systems. And another important thing is called the crew escape system. In case of anything happens to the launch vehicle or the system at any point of time, the crew should be safely brought back. For that, we are a crew escape system has to develop. And so far, earlier we were dealing only with hardware and software, but here in this mission, the human being is also involved. And lot of work has happened in this area. One is human rating of the vehicle, then orbital module development, then human-centric related systems, which includes the life support system, flight suit, and so many systems has to be developed. In fact, the activities are going well. And then, of course, we have to also develop a lot of propulsion system, including the launch vehicle. Launch vehicle will take them to 170 kilometers. From that, using a service module propulsion system, we are taking them to a 400 kilometer circular orbit, and we are maintaining there using the propulsion system safely. Then, of course, after orbiting to the required level, we are going to bring them back using another system called crew module propulsion system. And then in the last phase, they will be landing using parachutes. And then towards this, it is not only propulsion system, so much systems have to be developed. Right now, the activities are going on well in ISRO centers. And one of the experiments last year, what we carried out is the crew escape system demonstration. In fact, when the system is developed, we have to also ensure that it is working properly. So we developed a small rocket, and using that, it was taken to a Mach number of 1.2, and it was separated out, and we safely in the predetermined place, it landed using the parachute. And we have recovered the body, and really the body is like a virgin material we could get, and then it was perfectly landing. And like this, lot of experiment has to be done. What you are seeing is that mission, and finally using set of parachutes, it has landed. And here, when we talk about the Gaganyaan program, in fact, the reliability of the vehicle and safety of the, to ensure safety of the human being, the reliability of the system and redundancy of the systems has to be really built, and lot of experimentation has to be done. In fact, before sending the human being, there are 3 launches or uncrewed missions are planned. One mission called Gaganyaan G1 mission is targeted this year. In fact, all activities are going on, and subsequently 2 more unmanned mission will be sent. And after studying the performance, demonstrating the required performance, we will be sending the man to the space, our own Indians to the space, and bring them back safely, and which is targeted maybe another 2 years from now. This is the object, what was the crew module using the crew escape system. This is the the orbital module, which was taken safely, and in fact, it was taken by the Navy ship, and we are brought back. Then coming to the future developments, currently the Mark III vehicle, our capability is 4,000 kg to GTO, or around 8,500 kg to low Earth orbit. We are going to improve, we are having a program to improve the capability of the vehicle, to reduce the cost per kg of launch. And there are 2 systems which are getting developed. The center, right now the vehicle, if you see the configuration, that there are 2 solid motors, and in the center there is a air-storable propulsion system called L1 ton stage, and the upper stage is a cryogenic stage with the 28 ton propellant loading we have developed. Right now, 2 developments are going on. The core stage we are going to replace with a semi-cryogenic stage which uses liquid oxygen and kerosene as the propellant combination. And we are developing a 200 ton thrust engine and associated stage system. This development is going on. Maybe we are expecting the development to complete in maybe 2 years time frame from now. Then the upper stage, we are going to increase the performance of the stage by increasing the propellant loading from 28 ton to 32 tons and the engine thrust from 20 ton to 22 ton. In fact, that stage is totally developed. In fact, yesterday our chairman flagged off the first stage from our IPRC near Kanyakumari to Sriharikota. And if you see the international scenario, when we started, we were almost 60 years behind. And then every country is having huge launch vehicle program capable of building 100 to 150 ton capability to low Earth orbit. Now we are conceiving a new vehicle called new generation launch vehicle NGLV Surya. And for that, we are developing a new propulsion system called LOX methane engine system, engine and stage system. It uses liquid oxygen and methane, which has got, this propellant combination has got a lot of advantages, including reusability, throttleability, and of course, when you use this propulsion system to go for interplanetary mission, in the other planets, a lot of methane is there. In fact, there may be a day we may take propellant from other planets and come back. So thereby, this system has got a lot of advantages. So we have conceived this vehicle using the LOX methane stage. Right now, the development of liquid oxygen and methane development is going on. In fact, the design is nearing completion. And now you can see using this, we are trying to develop a new launch vehicle, as I told, Surya and Surya Heavy. And the vehicle height is something around 30 story building height, something around 90 to 93 meter height is the vehicle, which is almost more than 2 times of our Mark III vehicle. Mark III vehicle, you can see, this is the vehicle and this is the new vehicle what we are targeting. And with 2 solid strap-ons, the vehicle capability will be 4 times of Mark III vehicle capability. It can take almost 30 ton to low Earth orbit. And the core vehicle capability is something around 20 ton to low Earth orbit. And we are also trying to build configure a Indian space station called Bharat Dialogue station. And Honorable Prime Minister has given the direction we have to build by 2035. And it is a 5 module, and first module we are planning to send place in the year 2028 or so. And Chandrayaan 4 mission, it is a lunar sample return mission. And Chandrayaan 3 we soft landed, but Chandrayaan 4 is a little more complex because we are planning to take sample and bring back. And in fact, Honorable Prime Minister has given a clear mandate and roadmap. The Chandrayaan 4 has to go, the space station has to be built. And of course, one more direction is in another 2 years, of course, we are going to send the Gaganyaan. Through the Gaganyaan program, we are going to send our own brothers to space and bring them back safely. And we are going to have continuation of that mission. And by 2040, we are going to take our own brother or sister to moon and bring them back safely. And then coming to the lot of new developments. One is when you talk about low-cost access to space, the reusable launch vehicle technology is a mandate requirement. In fact, we are developing 2 technologies. One is a wing body, the upper stage, a wing body reusable system. And in fact, we also demonstrated a couple of things here. Even last this year, we had 1 landing experiment. In fact, 3 landing experiments were done. A wing body, this lander RLV, reusable launch vehicle, a demonstrator was built. It was having its own autonomous control system, software, and everything. And it was taken by helicopter to 4 to 4.5 kilometers and left there, and it autonomously came and landed in the required place. And thereby we have demonstrated a lot of things, guidance control, then aerodynamic characteristics, everything is demonstrated, and long way to go. And then another area is the air breathing propulsion technology. In fact, when a rocket is taking off, the propellant is having both oxidizer and fuel. And in this case, we are planning to use air as the oxidizer, and air in which oxygen is there, and in which the hydrogen or kerosene will be injected. And in fact, we have demonstrated this technology, but easy to say. And when the rocket is taking off and when we initiate the ignition, the Mach number will be something around 6. You can understand when air is entering with a Mach number of around 6, initiating the ignition and sustaining is a very, very difficult and tricky job. In fact, we have successfully demonstrated through 2 experiments. One experiment was done last month only. And then future, we are going to demonstrate a 250-second flight by injecting kerosene. And this is also, this activity is initiated, in fact. And then you would have seen the SpaceX, how they are coming and landing, vertical landing. To demonstrate that type of technologies, already we are working on that. The propulsion system, the thrust has to be reduced continuously when it comes and landing. So all those activities are going on. And another activity, for example, if you take Chandrayaan 3, Chandrayaan 3 is a satellite with 3,900 kg. Out of that, 2,000, almost 2,500 kg is the propellant which was used for taking the spacecraft and then soft landing. Now it is a chemical propulsion system what was used. Now the electric propulsion system is almost, I will say, 4 times efficiency-wise, 4 times higher efficiency than the chemical propulsion. So we are in the process of developing a chemical, in place of chemical propulsion system, and electrical propulsion system we are developing. And if you take a 5.5 ton class communication satellite, actual useful payload is only 900 kg to 1000 kg. Remaining is all other satellite system, including mainly the chemical propulsion. Now, if that is replaced with the electric propulsion, we can increase the payload substantially high. So, in fact, this year end, we are going to have targeting this mission. Now, another area is the world space economy. If you see the space economy, currently our share is hardly less than 2%, and we are planning to take it to 8%, from 8.4 billion currently to something around 44 billion, but very easy to tell. But towards that, the Honorable Prime Minister has rolled out the lot of program, including the space sector reform is brought. You all may be knowing, lot of companies are working, startups are working on the space activities. In fact, a couple of companies are working on launch vehicle, rocket related, a couple of companies are working on application, couple of companies are working on utilizing the space data, and a lot of things are happening in this area. And future missions. So we are planning to have a NASA ISRO synthetic aperture radar satellite. And it is one of the very costly satellite, and this is going to be launched in near future. Again, when you talk about space station building, everything, the docking experiment, that is one of the requirements. And we are going to have a space docking experiment very shortly. Maybe within 6 months time frame, this is targeted. And Mangalyaan 2, we are also thinking of studying to land on Mars. And Gaganyaan mission, already I have talked to, in 2 years, we are going to send our own human brothers or sisters to space and bring them back safely. And then Venus mission, this is configuration is being done, and a lot of activities are going in that area. And right now we are having a launch complex, satellite launch complex, launch vehicle launch complex in Sriharikota, and we are planning to build one more launch complex for sending, for launching small rockets from a place called Kulasegarapatnam. This activity is already initiated. Then the Earth Science Department is developing a program, having a program called Chandrayaan. They are building a module to take it to 6 kilometers inside the sea to study the sea related aspect. And for that 6 kilometers means, you can understand, almost 600 bar pressure will act on the vessel. So the vessel realization, we have taken the responsibility, and in fact it's a 100 mm thick titanium vessel, and that is being built. And coming to the Honorable Prime Minister has given a clear guideline. As I told, Chandrayaan 3 we have succeeded, and we are going to improve the Mark 3 payload, and Chandrayaan, the Gaganyaan mission, we are working on Gaganyaan mission, new generations of vehicle we are going to build, and to take man to moon. Again, a different variant of this new generation vehicle, launch vehicle has to be built with 70-ton LEO capability. Then the space station, already I have told, and Chandrayaan 4 and continuation of different Chandrayaan missions are planned. And this gives the overall roadmap in terms of the important missions, including the propulsion system development and the vehicle related development and all those things. And space station, and human spaceflight program, everything is put in a nutshell up to 2040, 2042. It is, I mean, the details are given here. Now, I would like to say, when it comes to the space launch vehicle or satellite, it is not one field of engineering. It is an amalgamation of all field of engineering and science are involved. Take a rocket development. We need to have mechanical team. We need to have aerospace team. We need to have computer engineers. We have to have electronics and communication team, and all branches of engineering, metallurgy, manufacturing, all branches of engineering, and physics, mathematics, all science streams. Everything is required. And same way, a satellite is also like that. In fact, if you take Chandrayaan 3 satellite, something around 1.6 lakh line software code is there. And you all know it is all autonomously, entire system is working. So basically, I want to say in a nutshell, it is the amalgamation of all branches of engineering and science is involved in execution of this. Now, one area we were not touching was the medical field. But now, when you talk about human spaceflight program, that is also, it is a human-centered related activities are involved, that is also coming inside. Now, to summarize, I want to say the space activity was started in the year 1962. ISRO was formed in the year 1969, August 15. And during the last 62 years, when we started the activity, we were 60 years behind the developed countries. And now we are one of the excellent spacefaring nation. We have accomplished a couple of important missions and made world record. And by 2047, we will be in par with any other country in terms of capability, in terms of satellite technology. And in fact, I have not addressed all the things. Recently, we also demonstrated quantum communication and a lot of all the technology wise, we will be in par with any other countries. And now, dear friends, yes, a lot of you are from different branches of engineering and science stream you may be hearing. Now, my humble request is, yes, surely you are having bright opportunities work in this area, but this is not the only area. What I request is you have to contribute wherever you work, whichever field you work, you have to contribute for making this country as a developed country before we celebrate 100 years of independence. That is what is my humble suggestion to all of you. And all the very best. Thank you for this opportunity to share the major activities, what is done, what is being done, and what is in future to you. You all will agree with me, activity which is done over a period of 62 years, 1962 to 2024, 62 years in 62 slides, talking within 1 hour is very difficult, but hope you would have got a flavor of the entire activity. And thank you. This is the last slide. Thank you. So with this, now we will just play you a small 7 to 8 minutes video giving the snapshot of the entire ISRO activities. After that, if required, we can have interaction if required. Now we will play the video. Are you seeing the video?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yeah, please go ahead.
India's foray into the space research started in the early 1960s, when the satellite applications were in the experimental stages worldwide. Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, a visionary behind India's space program, had strong conviction that the space technology could be effectively leveraged to tackle the problem of society and the country. The Indian Space Research Organisation, ISRO, was founded in August 1969, and it was brought under Department of Space in September 1972. The prime objective of ISRO is the development of advanced space technology and application of space technology for societal, commercial, developmental and strategic requirements of the country. While the 1970s were the period of conceptualization, the 1980s were the period of experimentation, which saw the demonstration of end-to-end capabilities through Aryabhatta, Bhaskara, Apple experimental satellites and SLV and ASLV development launch vehicles. These initiatives laid a strong foundation for realization and deployment of operational Indian National Satellite System, INSAT, Indian Remote Sensing Satellite System, IRS, and for development and operationalization of Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, PSLV. ISRO functions through various centers and units located across the country. ISRO has been making a steady progress in development and deployment of state-of-the-art infrastructure and systems. ISRO has successfully developed different class of launch vehicles for launching satellites of different payload capabilities. The PSLV, GSLV, LVM-3 and SSLV have shown their precise performances in placing satellites to various orbits of Earth, including LEO and GEO, further to the orbits of Moon and Mars. Recently, ISRO successfully conducted the demonstration of autonomous landing of reusable launch vehicle, RLV LEX. Further, ISRO is pursuing its endeavors to develop next-generation launch vehicle with higher payload capability while offloading the operational launch vehicles to industry. ISRO has launched fleet of communication satellites including high-throughput satellites into the geostationary orbit for meeting the requirements of television broadcasting, VSAT services, internet broadband, cellular backhauling, island connectivity, telemedicine and tele-education applications. ISRO has launched several Earth observation satellites, namely Cartosat, RESAT, OceanSat and also meteorological satellites for various applications in Earth and ocean resource monitoring, resource management, geospatial applications and for weather and climate applications. The satellite data are regularly provided to various user ministries and other users. These satellites play a significant role in disaster management in the events of floods, forest fire, earthquake, landslide, tsunami, etc., saving valuable lives and assets. The satellite data have been consolidated, value added and made available to various users through platforms like Bhuvan, Mosdak and Vedas. Several government and private users are deriving the benefit out of these portals. NavIC is the navigation system of India with a constellation of satellites operating from geostationary and geosynchronous orbits. NavIC provides the position, navigation and timing services for civilian and strategic applications. ISRO is continuously contributing to the capacity building in space infrastructure and human resources in the country through various sponsored R&D programs and outreach activities. ISRO actively collaborates with other space agencies and organizations worldwide. It not only partners with the spacefaring nations, but also works with space-aspiring nations in sharing expertise in space technology and applications. ISRO's contribution with space science missions, namely AstroSat, Aditya L1 and ExpoSat is significant for the space research. Several national and international researchers and institutions have made use of the data from these satellites and brought out publications in renowned international journals. ISRO also undertook space exploration missions of Chandrayaan and Mars orbiter missions. to study Moon and Mars. While developing the critical technologies, India has successfully landed its Vikram lander of Chandrayaan 3 closer to the southern polar region of the Moon. It has also deployed Pragyan rover to explore the lunar surface. These missions have not only expanded scientific knowledge but also have garnered international acclaim. Efforts are continued to scale new heights in this journey. Gaganyaan project of ISRO envisages demonstration of human spaceflight capability. The mission is to orbit Indian astronauts at 400 kilometers altitude for 1 to 3 days and bring them back to Earth safely. Various precursor missions are in progress for demonstrating the technology preparedness levels before carrying out the actual human spaceflight mission. These demonstrator missions include Integrated Airdrop Test, Pad Abort Test, and Test Vehicle Flights. Safety and reliability of all systems will be proven in unmanned missions before the manned mission. As announced by Honorable Prime Minister of India,
2035 तक अंतरिक्ष में भारत का अपना स्पेस स्टेशन होगा जो हमें स्पेस के अज्ञात विस्तार को जानने में मदद करेगा.
ISRO is working on realizing an Indian space station, namely Bharatiya Antariksh Station, by 2035 and to land an Indian on Moon by 2040. The journey of Indian space program continues to grow to serve the nation, the citizen and the humanity at large.
Okay, thank you.
So, sir, as we
Thank
now
you.
approach the end of this session, going along the theme of Bharat Dialogue, I would like to ask you, what does Bharat mean to you in 3 words?
Sorry, it's not clear. Can you repeat?
Sure, sir. Going along the theme of Bharat Dialogue, I would like to ask you, what does Bharat mean to you in 3 words?
We are going to become a developed country very shortly.
With that being answered excellently, BITS Embryo would like to thank you for joining us today in our Bharat Dialogue session. Your journey, insights, and knowledge definitely instilled a sense of motivation and spirit in all of us. Great people like you are definitely a trailblazer for all of us. We would definitely like to have you back again with your knowledge enlightening all of us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you and all the best to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.